have a look into the distance just above me, you'll start to notice those clouds sort of forming quite surely above us. And if you can, go get yourself a hot chocolate, something hot to drink, come back to us, sit in front and get a feeling for this morning, because it is not a warm morning, I tell you. William from Oregon wants to know, will we continue the safari if it starts to rain? Well, William, you know, if it starts to drizzle, we've got rain covers, so we'll put the rain covers on if we need to. But to be honest, it's a big problem for our technical stuff. You can see we've actually got a number of things on our dashboard here, and the camera itself that will get injured if we try to go in the rain. So we won't drive if it starts to pour. And you know, looking from that distance over there, we can see it's even thicker there. Let's go and see what Brent's up to, though.
Well done, James, and thank you, Master Henry. There we go, the Queen of Juma atop a marula tree. James was spot on with his assessment last night that she had killed a duiker from what he could hear. So just to the right of her, there's the duiker. So we're just going to try reposition into a better spot, but there we go. Well done, James. Now see where we can hop, skip, and a jump. There we go. I firm, James. Jax, if you coming on Philemon from the dip, it's probably just to the east of that big Shadulu next to the road. Probably 60 meters from Philemon's cut down itself. As soon as I hear you, I'll call you in. How's that, Dad? Now, if we look south from where we are, apparently James is somewhere on foot around here. Just go back. Let's see if we can spot the trackers. I don't think we can see him from here. But anyway, I'd much rather look at Karula than James. Yeah, looking very, very comfortable. As I said, I didn't think she was going to go ahead for the cubs with this really strong windy weather. It might be a bit of a risk to move them. Look at that. As I said, this strong windy weather, great for hunting, but I think Kula is a good enough hunter that she made the kill before it got too dark last night. Just after you left her, from what James said, he heard her make that kill. So Sandy in Missouri is wondering how we walk around out here, and James has just walked into Karula on foot. She's like, is it safe? Well, it's probably safer than walking through most cities, and you're very unlikely to be killed by anything. Unfortunately, we've got lots of experience in the bush, and that's our weapon in terms of safety. And we just know how to read the situations and not get ourselves into a bad situation. So Teresa in Illinois is wondering, what do Karula cubs do when she's gone? Well, they'll probably play with each other, explore a little bit around the den site, sleep quite a lot. That's why quite often, as soon as she goes to collect them, they're very, very playful and jumpy and whatnot because they've been sleeping for so long. Now she's moved her head slightly, trying to find a spot where we can actually see her face nicely, and that one branch is in the way. I think this is going to be the best spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon that's
Oh, that branch is just in the way. A little bit further back. Right there, how's that? Too far back. Oh, you got that? There. That's probably going to be the best for now, until she decides to start feeding again. Very convenient sort of gap between those branches that fits a Karula perfectly. Canada Keith's wondering, what type of bond does a leopard have with its cubs in comparison to the other animals out here? Oh, no. I'm going to move around to the other side again. Well, leopards have quite a strong bond while the cubs are growing up. As soon as they get independent, that bond becomes a lot weaker. There we go. How's that, Dave? Just move a little bit for that one branch. There we go. So, hello, Kula. So they have a very strong bond, particularly with the males. They have a stronger bond with the young males, and they stay with their mom for about 2.5 sometimes, as the females become independent much younger. Look at that. Very contented leopard. Killing the tree. Nice branch to snooze on. Look at that. So peaceful. Margaret says she knows a good tree when she sees one. Just stand by a second, Margaret. Taxi, come straight south from there. Just to the south. I'm not sure where best access is. It's a bit thick right next to the road, but just on the other side there's a shadulu in here. I'm next to the shadulu. There we go. This is calling Taxon from Juma. Look at that. And Margaret, you are absolutely correct. That is a perfect tree. Oh. It's almost, she put her paw across her eyes. Looking very, very, very comfortable. It looks like she's fed on quite a lot of that daikatil. Not much left, probably only half left. Now, she might not bring the cubs to a kill this small. For now, while they're still younger, she might finish eating it. But she seems to. The last kill she brought them onto Juma for was a big kill. It was an adult impala. And you can see, even though she's got a very full belly, her breathing is not too labored because of the nice cool weather. William in Oregon's wondering, do they have a favorite tree to feed in, or is it just the closest tree to the kill? William, it's normally the closest tree to the kill. They want to get that kill up into that tree as soon as possible, so the hyenas and other predators are not going to be able to steal it. I'm just going to move a skosh forward so Tax can have a good view. Still good there?
Yeah.
Okay. Sharp and full. Senior Gold saying, I noticed that lions seem to have shorter fur than leopards. So do leopards have fluffier coats? They do have slightly fluffier coats than lions, but lions generally do have a lot shorter coats. And it could be the fact that leopards are so adaptable that they live in so many different areas that they need a slightly... Not Monday yet. There we go. You can see the blood around her neck from where she's been feeding. Oh, moved her head to the next side again. I think we're just going to stay where we are for now. You can see how, even though she's snoozing, watch her ears. They're always just flipping from side to side, listening. Potential threat in this strong wind. She's perfectly positioned now with the kill in the tree, sleeping in the tree. It's unlikely that a hyena is going to surprise her. Alice in Ohio is wondering if I've got any new leopard folk tales for you. I can't remember which is the last folk tale I told. I think it was the story of the leopard and the hare. Let me think for a few seconds, Alice. We're just going to stay right here for now. I'm sure she's going to move her head again shortly. So Dawn in Alabama is wondering how the different animals are named, such as the bee boys and Karula. Well, Karula would have been given her name by the guides when she was a cub, and Karula means peaceful, and she looks very peaceful this morning. That's how the names. The Birmingham boys is a little bit different. They come from a farm called Birmingham in the Timbavati. Sandy would like to know how many kills she has to make to survive per week. Probably 2 per 7 days. So every sort of 3rd day or so she will need to make a kill. Sometimes more frequently, sometimes less so. So Rita is wondering, and Rita is from Johannesburg, whether Karula or any other female leopard would move cubs during the night. Rita, yes, they would, and especially when the cubs are a bit older, they'll happily move them during the hours of darkness. So Valerie in Ontario is wondering what diseases that leopards might be in contact with. Valerie, tuberculosis or bovine tuberculosis transmits into feline tuberculosis quite easily, and they get that from feeding off different things. They have quite a strong natural immunity, and it only tends to affect them towards the end of their life. And then any distemper, which is basically a runny stomach, mange. Those are the main sort of ones that they might come into contact with out here. And while we wait for Kula to start feeding, let's jump back on board with Sam, who's in the river system.
Welcome to the boat ride with Sam and Bryan. We go through the Mawati drainage to see if we can locate on any Inyalas or kudus that might be sitting stealthily, trying to not be seen by anything out here. It is a very, very quiet morning out here, and the reason why I think it is quite quiet is because of the wind that was blowing all night and just shaking and stirring up the bush, making it very, very scary and difficult to move around if you are a herbivore or if you are anyone out here at the moment. And this is my favorite area to come through because it is, if you are wanting to be secretive, the best place to come and be secretive. that the animals would probably enjoy the wind purely because it would get rid of all the flies. Kevin Cash, it's a good point. Those flies have been annoying me so much recently, but the thing is, it doesn't help them in terms of trying to get away from predators. They can't smell the predators, and they can't hear the predators because of the wind, so it makes life a lot more difficult for them when that wind is blowing quite hard. But I'm so excited that you managed to see Queen Karula. Brent truly is an incredible tracker. He has the ability of most non-human, well, humans. Sorry, he has the ability of... Ooh, James found Karula this morning. Wow, so Brent and James managed to find the queen herself. But I thought just while we're here, the other day we chatted about how there are some birds that like to eat the seed pod of the combreton over here. So this is called the russet bush willow. And then the southern black tit. It likes to open these seed pods up to collect the insects that is inside here. So I'm not sure what happened there. Sorry about that. We must have had... So I'll quickly...
So, very exciting news. It actually turns out the cubs are there. So immediately we moved out and left it to a one vehicle sighting, but we will go back a little later. So the cubs were actually hiding just behind there. So at the moment, it's a one vehicle sighting. So we've moved out of the area, but we will go back later. So very exciting. Babies! So, excitement, but of course we don't want to put any pressure on the cubs while they're there. So Tax and I immediately moved out. So Johan's going to have a quick look, and then Tax is going to go in, and then we'll go in towards the end of drive, or a little bit later once they've finished having a look. But that is really great news. So she has managed to move the cubs. I actually think the cubs have been on Juma for a while in this block, but so yay! And look there, look what we have just down the road. Some buffalo bulls. So isn't it incredible that we were sitting there and those cubs were just so well hidden? Right next, they were very close to us, that we didn't notice them for quite a while. Oh, look at that. Big boys. All stretching, been sleeping. Thanks, Tux. The retired gentleman's club with an oxpecker atop. And they won't be moving as quickly as they normally do towards the pans and drainage systems because it is quite chilly today. And they generally like to keep a little bit warmer, and that's why they move into areas like this during the night to have a snooze. Look at that oxpecker's getting in behind his ear there. Getting to the warm side of the buffalo, protected from the wind. Oh, scratch, scratch, scratch. Oh, red-billed oxpecker. Beautiful. So keeping on the warm side of the buffalo. The wind's coming from the opposite side. You can see that gnarled boss of the buffalo bull. Maju is Major says they're all starting to look like Taylor Lautner now. Yes, quite. But if we have a look at those horns, go back in on them, please. Look at that. And you can see there's some pieces of branches stuck inside there. And there's a couple of different reasons why they do that, and it could be just that they're itchy. But they also rub against specific tree species like Timbuti. Now, what that does is Timbuti has got a highly noxious milky latex. So they'll rub on there to give themselves a bit of insect repellent to keep some of the flies and that away from their faces. Of course, not the most effective, but it does work quite well. Yeah, well, we're going to continue on. And I've got an Indabele folklore story for you about leopards. Oh, sorry, I just need to be on the radio. So I'm just listening for the update. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just listening to what's going on with that leopard sighting. We are going to go back to look at Karula's cubs, but just now. So we're going to carry on for a little bit. Okay, so the leopard folklore story, it's an Indabele folklore story, and let me just let you know about the Indabele people quickly. They are originally an offshoot of the Zulu tribe. And there was a Zulu general under Shaka called Mzilikazi. And he decided he didn't agree with Shaka, so he took his regiment of 5,000 warriors and ran away. And then basically engulfed tribes on his way through southern Africa, and he ended up setting up his kingdom in what is now Zimbabwe. And there's a city there called Bulawayo, which was the same name as Mzilikazi's capital. It means the place of killing. So the Indabele have a very similar sort of folklore and a very similar sort of traditional history as Zulu people. Now, the folklore is why the vervet monkey is scared of the leopard. Now, a leopard is quite a vain animal, and he was lying in the branches of a pod mahogany tree, staring into a pool in the river, admiring his reflection. And he had forgotten he had made an appointment with Hyena, who was waiting patiently at the bottom of the tree. So eventually Hyena gave a little giggle just to let Leopard know he was there. And Leopard went, "Oh, yes, what do you want?" And Hyena said, "Well, Baboon has a gourd of clear water, and he's challenging all the animals to see who could drink the whole gourd in a day." And Leopard thought, well, what's the prize? And there was a fantastical food prize at the end. So Leopard thought, well, maybe this is worth having a look at. And Hyena said, okay, well, I'm going to continue on to tell everyone else, and I'm going to go tell Mvu, the hippo. And off Hyena went. And then later in the day, Leopard decided to sort of move towards this clearing in the forest where this whole thing was taking place. So all the animals seemed to have gathered. It was a great gathering of animals. And Leopard sort of disdainfully looked at everyone else and climbed into a tree nearby and was watching the ongoings. So Mvul the hippo said, well, I'm biggest, I'm strongest, I'll go first. I'll drink that gourd in one sip. Mvul the hippo took one sip and ran away screaming, saying, it burns, it burns, it burns. Ran off back to the river. And various other animals tried. Kudu tried, and lion tried, and all the animals sprinted off down to the river. Now, the reason they were sprinting off down to the river is that clear gourd of liquid was stolen from the village of the humans, and it was called kechas. Kechas is equivalent of moonshine, very potent. So Baboon was having one up over all the other animals because the baboons had stolen it from the village. So eventually, after almost all the animals had given up, little vervet monkey said, well, me please, I want to turn. And asked if it was okay if he could take a sip and then lie down, and to make sure that as long as it was finished by the end of the day, Baboon said this was acceptable. So Vervet Monkey came, took a sip, went into this long patch of grass he appeared out of, and every 5 minutes he would do the same. And eventually, as the sun was about to set, Leopard suddenly sort of woke up from his daze and looked into that long grass and noticed many tails and thought, ha, monkey, you little naughty. And so as the monkey took its last sip and wanted to claim the prize, Leopard came flying down the tree and just started swatting monkeys out of the long grass and growling, calling him a trickster, a fraud, and a thief. And at that moment, the monkeys all ran away towards the trees, and then all the other animals started chasing the monkeys, but Monkey couldn't get away because Leopard can climb a tree as well. So the monkeys ended up in the smallest, most tiny branches at the top of the tree. And that's where Monkey stays to this day, because he's feared of the retribution of Leopard. And even when they come down from the ground, you can see they're looking around quite nervously, making sure all the animals don't get hold of them for their naughty behavior at the gourd drinking competition. So, while we continue to see what's out and about, let's go to Sam with one of the more beautiful feathered friends.
A lilac-breasted roller, a beautiful looking bird that is sitting with a backdrop of the sky that is very grey this morning, that is going to rain at some point today, which is fantastic. I'm sure all the animals and birds of the bushveld are going to be hoping for the rain to come, as it has been a very hot couple of days. Yesterday, in fact, was exceptionally hot. And more about what the lilac-breasted roller is standing on is a Acacia nigrescens, which is a knobthorn, which if you look quite clearly on the bark, if we can just zoom a little closer, you can see the knobs that are all over that bark. So that is the Acacia nigrescens, and what I learned the other day was that the Acacia nigrescens likes to be eaten by the giraffe. So giraffes often come towards these knobthorns and eat on the leaves of the knobthorn. But this knobthorn is quite clearly dead. But what is quite beautiful about a dead knobthorn is that you can clearly see the dendritic system, almost like the way in which everything is being dispersed in terms of the way in which the leaf structure is. And if you think about all the deltas you've ever seen, or if you've ever seen lightning or anything of that kind of shape, you'll see it in many, many things, forms in life. So that is a knobthorn in the backdrop of a beautiful bit of rain that might come through with the colorful lilac-breasted roller. And the lilac-breasted roller may be a beautiful looking bird with that blue, the purple, the indigo, but the sound, when you hear the sound of a lilac-breasted roller, it isn't the most fantastic sounding bird you've heard. I'll play the sound for you just now. But while we were sitting here, we lost a lot of signal with you as we were down in the drainage line, as we were trying to find a kudu or a Nyala to talk about. It must be very exciting sitting with Karula this morning. I said I've only seen Karula once or twice, but Brent, who is a master tracker, so is James, is teaching me more about the skills and arts of tracking animals, which is exceptionally exciting. But we were talking about a southern black tit, and the southern black tit loves to eat the combretum seed pods. So it holds it in one foot while probing for insects. And it also moves much like a woodpecker moves through a tree. So that is the southern black tit. Sorry about that, Brian. I'm just going to quickly play the call of the southern black tit. And it doesn't work for this bird. It doesn't work for that bird either. So this is a little machine that is able to play the different bird calls of the of this book, and sometimes it just doesn't work with some of the birds. But that was the southern black tit and the lilac-breasted roller. I'm not going to play the lilac-breasted roller right now, purely because it's quite uncomfortable for a bird to hear another bird when it knows it's not another bird. Morally, it's not a good thing to do just because we want to hear it. So when we are in a good position, we can sit down and have a good listen to the lilac-breasted roller through this little bit of technology that makes such a difference, especially to my learning. I sit at night time and I go through all the different bird calls and learn a little bit. But I know that some people have been enjoying my, so that last bird call, it keeps coming out. You didn't hear a fish eagle and you didn't hear a spurfowl. It just does that every single time I switch it on and off, which is highly annoying, but you know what can you do? And so if there's any young... So just excuse this thing. See, it's only real awkward. The only real awkward thing about this machine is that it will just play all sorts of different. Oh, we have some elephants. We have some elephants. Oh, we were on drive for quite some time this morning before we've seen anything, and these are the first big animals that you'll find, and even though they are so big, they can clearly hide themselves very well. So I'm just going to see if I can go and view them from a distance here, because it looks like they've moved quite far into the block already. Nice to see some ellies on this nice, cold, wintry feeling morning. No, it looks like they've gone straight into that block. You can kind of see them through the trees there. It's not worth a good visual of that. We'll see if we can find some more. Maybe there's a whole breeding herd of ellies that'll be around here. So we should be fine. But just while we're on the way there, I know that some of the viewers quite enjoy the drawings that I've been trying to do, and I thought it would be quite nice to keep everyone updated with the sort of drawings that I've done. And Kirsty, who's directing this morning, has also helped develop and make these pictures what they are today. So this is a little picture of a giraffe that I drew. So if there's any young kids watching, I really recommend drawing some of your favorite animals and then writing some of the things that they like to eat. As you can see here, I've got a tree, and that is the Acacia nigrescens, the knobthorn that we just saw now. So in drawing, we can make relative and relevant connections between animals and plants. And I've just stalled. These things will happen when you are talking on a live camera. So, plan now is hopefully to see some more ellies. So I'm going to go quite slowly just so we can hear them. The wind, of course, makes it a little bit more difficult to hear everything out in the bush, and I do struggle to hear sometimes. But before we do that and find you an elephant, let's see how Brent's doing.
Okay, so we are heading back towards Karula and the cubs. Wow, this is very exciting, but it's of course something we have to be very sensitive about. So let me just explain before we get in there what the protocol is so everyone's on the same page. So if we find Karula and the cubs, and depending on their state, because they're over 2 months old now and they are able to climb trees quite well, if she has a kill and it is in the tree, we will put 2 vehicles in there, not 3. That's why we left. So if she is by herself with the cubs on the ground and there is no kill present, it's 1 vehicle. So we are going to be 2 vehicles in there just so no one gets a fright, whatnot. And it is normal, standard procedure when it comes to driving in with leopard cubs. But this is really exciting, so let's just go enjoy this moment. So Susan, who's in Australia, says, since I was the first to see Karula's cubs, will I get to name them? Susan, what we'll do is we'll get together with Tax and Aubrey and the Juma guys, and we'll put forward a group of names and then discuss it. And from that group of names, we will choose. So we all get the rights to name them, and it just makes it a lot more fair for everyone. But I do have a few names in mind. And I agree 100% with Dina. Dina says anything we have to do to keep those little guys safe is it's great. It's what we have to do. And fortunately, Queen Karula is such a great mother. And you can see how comfortable she is in our presence, and that will actually help make the cubs comfortable as well. Is this where we came through? Yes. So I've been seeing Karula's tracks quite a bit around, so I think these little guys might have been on Juma for quite a while. We're just going to stand by here. We're still a little bit away. I'm just waiting for the other vehicles to move out to make space for us. Yeah, the birds. Shouldn't spot batters. 3 blind mice. So being patient with cubs is a very important thing. So Karula's cubs have not seen a lot of cars. I think we were about the 3rd car when we saw them, and then Jamie the 4th and 5th. So it is important to just be quite patient with them. They will become very relaxed, but for the moment they're still not 100% relaxed. But that's not a bad thing, and it is always exciting to watch the progress of the cubs as they become more and more relaxed with the vehicles, till eventually sometimes I've had leopard cubs that go under my car. Isn't that amazing? Sun's starting to come up. Standing by. Copy, thanks, Johan. I'll stand by till you're on the road. Here we go. So, let's get in there, yay. we go through? Okay, so we're just going to go in very slowly. So let's have a look. So Karula's still in the same place. I'm not 100% sure where the cubs were. As soon as Tax spotted them, we moved out. So let's just go. It looks like she's falling towards them. So we're going to stay a little bit further away than we would normally if she was by herself. There we go. There she is. She's looking down towards the ground, so I'm presuming the cubs are over there. So we're just going to sit carefully and watch. Listen to that. Oh. Oh, isn't this amazing? So I'm just waiting to see if I can spot the cubs through the bush. I say we're going to just keep our distance a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to hear her with this very strong wind we've got today. But you can see that movement. And this is incredible. We've got this nice big super zoom on this camera. So we don't have to get too close. We can stand by a little bit further away. It's quite important, especially while the cubs are not too relaxed, to just keep our voices down, talk very softly. And I'm just, while you guys are looking at Kula, I'm looking down to the area where she's looking. Use my binoculars quickly. I think I might have spotted one, but it's not 100% sure. So Megan in Ottawa says, do I think Kula worries about her cubs? Worries about her cubs when she's away from them? Probably to a degree, but I don't think too much. It's a lot of rearing of cubs and a lot of behavior with leopards is instinctive. Now, quite often the trick is with cubs is just to sit still and listen, and then eventually they will pop out. Keeping still. She's always vigilant, watching around. But that really dangerous, really dangerous period for the cubs is over now that they're able to climb trees. So till they get to a year old, the leopard cubs still have a very high mortality rate of around 70%. Looks like she might... Oh no, back to snooze. I thought she might start feeding. So while we sit here patiently waiting for those little guys to make an appearance, let's go across to Sam, who's got one of Karula's favorite food items.
You have had an exciting time seeing Karula and what might be coming of that whole scene over there, but we are just looking at something that we don't often see, which is a steenbok standing completely still, not standing, lying down completely still behind that trunk there. And you can see his ears are out, and we spoke about how the wind was going to create a much difficult environment for it to be able to be out here. So it is doing exactly what its name means, which means stone buck. Steenbok in Afrikaans is, in English now, is stone buck. And so you can see it sits in that position as still as it can. Look how still the steenbok is right now. All you can see every now and then is his ear moving towards the directions of sound. And it looks like he's listening very, very closely to Sam and Bryan in the car. But that is incredible. I haven't sat with a steenbok for this long. Normally they see us and they run away very quickly. And as you know, Karula loves a steenbok. So there's a steenbok right here. And then we saw a duiker not so long ago. So we've seen a duiker and a steenbok. With that, now that you understand a little bit more of what she likes to eat, let's go back to Brent and Karula.
Sorry guys, just on the radio. Copy, thanks, Tax. So I can hear the cubs calling back to her. If we come out, please. She's going to start feeding again. That might prompt them to come out. So, as we come out, there's a cub in that thicket there. Sounds like one there and another one just off to the left. And a very hyper sort of... So, oh, look at that. Look up. Look, Kula. Look at her. She's moving the kill. She might take it onto the ground for the cubs to feed on. Or she might just be repositioning it better for herself. Again. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get exactly where that sound is coming from. It's difficult with this wind. Sounds like the cubs are coming closer. You can't see them yet. So if we can see one of the cubs, and that's the one that's calling to the other side of the tree over there, we're not going to move. I'd rather just keep still and wait for the cubs to come closer to us. Look, she looks like she's moving the kill again. She might take it down for the cubs. Shineni. Or maybe even just take it to a lower branch. But it looks like she is taking it to the ground, taking it to the cubs to feed. Now, this is not uncommon behavior. Okay, so we're just going to move the vehicle slightly. Now, again, like with unrelaxed male leopards or unrelaxed elephants, always important, let the car run for a few seconds before you start moving. It just makes everything a little bit more calm. There, Dan?
Just got a bit of shrubbery.
Backwards and forwards? Okay, so the cub should come, join her shortly, so I'm just going to, again, we're staying a little bit far away. I think maybe, Dave, forward. Just say when. Is there a gap under there, I think?
That's it.
Unfortunately, it's not the... There we go, the cub. I think the cub's about to arrive. There it is, there it is. Oh, it's in trouble. Got a smack from Mom. Wow, isn't this amazing? Oh, onto Mom, over Mom. I don't know, Dave, can you hear that high-pitched? Yeah. You can hear the cub talking. So even at this young age, they're already feeding off meat. There it is. Look at that. Coming around again. Oh, in trouble with Mom again. Isn't this just special? Now, this is only my second time with Karula's cub live. You can see she's a little bit angry with them. My tail flicking a bit, and every time it gets in the wrong spot, gets a serious talking to. Now, we haven't been able to sex the cubs yet, but hopefully we will be able to soon. Now, the fact that one is quite a lot more relaxed than the other cub probably means that one is a male, but it could just be the individual personalities of the cubs, and I'm really excited to find out whether they are male or female. Cat in Tampa says, Brent gets to see cubs before his leave. How exciting. Yes, nice little farewell present from the Queen of Juma for me. A view at the little ones. Oh, Cubby's going to be in trouble again. He's off playing. jumped away from Mom and over the branch. I can't see now. Let's see if Mom reprimands yet again. Just going to try and see if we can wait for Ephraim to move his car out. It's also very important we only ever move one vehicle at a time around cubs. We're not going to spend too much longer here. We're going to have to make space for some other people to come have a look and enjoy Karula's cubs. I'm just going to see if we can find a spot that's got a slightly better view. Big hole. See, I'm moving very slowly around here. I think we might have been in the best spot. What do you think, Dad? Oh, I think there's a window through there. How's that?
Yeah, I've lost the wall, I think.
No. Okay. Let's just go back a bit, I think.
That's good, Dad.
Where? Well, let's just sit here, see if that little one comes back. It went off playing. Went and jumped over those logs behind her. Wasn't that just the cutest little bundle of joy? I can't see the cubs at the moment, just Queen Karula feeding. And as I said, we're not going to spend too much longer here. Oh, the cubs coming back? Bimpan's coming. Do you see her info? Okay. She's in the thicket here. The Mampimpan's just behind. The Mampimpan will be on much. I think maybe if you drive towards me here, you could see. So I just saw the cub starting to make its way back towards the kill. It's still a little bit off. There it comes, here it comes. See him go? He's come out a bit wider. Here comes the cub. Or one of the two. So let me just have a look where you're looking there. Okay, so Dad, watch my finger. Around there. A little bit further to the right. Just behind that fallen log. Stop there. That's the cubs coming in from that section. Still playing with grass and that. I can just make it out. So we'll just wait a little bit. See if it pops back into view. Okay, I've got him now. He's directly behind the branch view, but he should pop out shortly. Or she. Okay, let's go back to Kula. I'll keep an eye and let you know if it is. You got it?
Yep.
There we go. Well done, Dave. Look at that. Hey, little monster. There we go. Karula there. Oh, it's in the tree above Kula. It's going right up the tree, he's playing. You can just see the movement of the tree, the cubs up in the tree above Mom. Falling out of the tree actually now. You can just see the movement of the leaves. Coming down right next to her, Dave. It's going back up the tree. Yeah, there it is. In that thicket there. Playing around in the tree above Mom.
Yeah, right there. On the back of the mound.
It's come down behind Mom. But still in the tree. I don't want to say you want to keep them vehicle movement a minimum around, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come back around the front. Davy's here. So let's see where Karula's head is.
Yep.
I'm just going to try and move a skosh further forward for you, Dave, I think. That wind is... How's that? Better?
Karula's slightly.
The cub's going to come down at Karula's head, so...
All right, on her head.
Yeah. So, let's just have a look. It's still above her. It's coming out of her tail now, of course. Can we go to the left? It's out in the open. There we go. Zoom, center frame. Hello, little one. Definitely getting quite brave quite quickly, this little character. Oh, look at that eye through the leaves. Up onto the fallen log. Oh, gonna snooze there. Just see the little cub's ears.
Can we roll back? Yes.
There we go. Off to play. I think it might come back into the tree above Mom now. There we go, coming. That's actually my... I've got out to the right. They're coming right into the open. There, zoom in now. Next to that branch. There we go. Getting brave, going exploring. Or maybe going to visit sibling. I've lost visual. Isn't that incredible? How quickly this little guy is becoming very relaxed. You still got that? Okay, hasn't this been very, very special? But we do have to make space for the other guys so they can also have a look. So we go from one baby member of the Big Five to another with Sam.
So you've just been with the leopard cubs, and I'm sure it's been great to watch them play with each other. But now we are with the little Ellies, and it's been so fun to watch them. They've just been playing with each other, the older one here and the little youngster just in front. They've been jumping on top of each other, and it's been fun watching them play. But it's a whole family here. You've got the mother just in front of the two youngsters over there, and then there's a big wall. The rest of them are coming just behind the little youngsters. But we are here at Buffelshoek, and I mean, it's been very, very difficult to try and get you guys here, purely because that sighting of those leopard cubs, you can never, that is just incredible. So from one baby Ellie, which we'll probably most likely see more than a baby cub, and it's a morning of little youngsters playing around and having a good time. And look at that family going into the distance now. They're going to go walk, and they've just had a big drink of water, as you can see on their legs. You can see the water. They've just been sitting in the water drinking for the last 15 minutes. And now they're going to head out and see if they can find some breakfast. And it's been very cool sitting with them. It looks like they're wearing socks or boots with that mud up to there. We've got one last one that's just sitting at the back here. I'm not sure what he's doing. Let's watch him for a second or two. What is he doing with his trunk there? It looks like he's feeling... He's either going to try and get some dust to put on his back, or he's going to find some grass to eat. Because I've seen them, yes, he went and found some grass. Now you can clearly see how big those ears are from the back. You can see the shadow that is cast because of those big African elephant ears. There we go. Thank you for that incredible sighting. Bye-bye, Mrs. Ellie. It's a lady. We'll watch them go down the road. To walk in the tracks of giants. There he goes, he's still feeding. Watch him grab that. Ooh. So we're not going to follow the Ellies anymore. We've had a great sighting of them as they go off into the distance there. See, they're feeling uncomfortable. So we're going to leave you. Enjoy the rest of your morning. See how she got a little bit uncomfortable there because she thought we were following her. But we might just lose signal with you for a second because we're going into a dip. So just hold your breath while we go down. So it's been line, please, Brian. So we've got bad signal down here. Let's just go see how Brent's doing with the leopards. See you just...
There's the little cubby, right? It's been quite difficult to see behind that bush. There we go. So they're moving around and playing. I actually saw both of them stalking. Could be stalking sibling, but it also looks like they might be having a little rest there. Oh. I'm hoping it comes a bit closer and out in the open again. Brenda in Virginia is wondering, what is the purpose of Karula bringing the kill to the ground and then spotting the cub away from it? Well, it's probably just to get the cubs to come closer to her so she can keep a better eye on them. And I don't think if the cub had started feeding, she wouldn't have spotted it. The fact that it was trying to play with her tail and play with her while she was feeding was the reason it got swatted, not because it was trying to eat. In fact, that little one's found a tiny patch of sun to sleep in. I'm hoping we can see both together. And when one starts snoozing like that, quite often it might be stalked by the other. As Lima is saying, they're definitely aware and curious of the vehicles. That's definitely for sure. As I said, these particular cubs have not seen many vehicles, so it is a novelty to them. And we've just got to make sure that we all drive quite carefully around them so they get nice and used to the vehicles. The leopard crawl. There we go. And you can see why it's called the leopard crawl. Moving along on your belly. Now, I think the other cub is behind to the right there. We can't see it from here. Gerda says perfectly camouflaged, and you can see how well those rosettes work to break up the line and make a leopard disappear into the bush. So when they're small, they're more heavily spotted or rosetted, and that's to help them hide. Oh, moving, might be coming back towards us. It's just gone behind the... Oh, there we go, coming back towards us. Oh, and did it lie down? No, still moving. Difficult to... And Karula's just moved deeper into the thicket. Look at that, disappearing leopards. There's Queen Karula in the middle of the thicket. She's calling for them again. Here he comes. They're coming. He's coming. Underneath that fallen branch. There. To the left slightly. A little bit more to the left. It's going to pop out. Right underneath there, it's going to pop out into that. Okay, She's calling. It might be time for feeding, and I'm hoping she moves out into the open. Remay in San Diego is wondering, will the cubs smell a predator coming? At this age, Remay, they're very nervous to all sort of uncommon sounds. I'm just going to move the vehicle quickly. Just always let the vehicle run for a few seconds before moving, and so they don't get a fright. And she's cleaning the cub. Very slowly. Nothing there. There we go. As I was saying, I hope she moves to the open and then calls the cubs to her for a grooming, feeding session. You can see the little cubby just to the left. Coming back to mom. Going to go suckle. Or trying to suckle, at least. Hey, little one. No, not ready just yet. Still up for games. Look at that tail up in the air. Fat little belly. Mom. Now, hopefully the second one decides to come and join. Being defleed. Doesn't want to be cleaned. Wants to try and drink. And mom just wants to give it a good clean. Can't keep me down, mom. Now, I did see the second cub briefly, and it does seem to be a little bit less relaxed. Hopefully it pops out. Hope you guys are getting some fantastic screenshots. I can hear the second cub making its way. Sounds like it's just to the left of where these two are, in that thicket where we saw the one climbing the tree. So, Nemo's wondering how much do they still suckle at this age. They are still suckling, Nemo, but they're normally weaned at around 3 months. So these guys are just over 2 months, so they've got or maybe sometimes a bit longer than 3 months. They've got a little while of suckling still before they're exclusively carnivores. But they're looking very fat, fit and healthy. Oh, watch this. Watch this. He's got... Look at this. Megan in Ottawa is saying the concentration of spots above the cub's eyes look like eyebrows. There we go. I've been trying to get the spot pattern, and I think this one's, yep, it's a 3-3 spot pattern, the cub that we're seeing at the moment. Now, as I said, really hoping that the second cub decides to put in an appearance. And that little cub has gone to the carcass to feed. I think it has, yeah. I can just make it out through the bushes there. Let's come across to the left and zoom. It could be just, there we go. So even at this young age, they are very much meat eaters. Sharp little teeth. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Diker for breakfast. Vicky says, amazing how this little fuzzball shut down the Twitter chat. Look at that, he's pulling at the carcass. It's a bit big for you to move. Might be wrong, but I do think this could be a little male, just judging from behavior. Oh, so gorgeous. We are very, very privileged to be able to see this. You can still hear the second cub. Haven't seen it yet though. Well, we saw it briefly when it was running around with this cub, but quite far behind. Isn't that just stunning? Not only Vicky has shut down Twitter chat, but it's also shut me down. I just want to watch and not speak. There's the second cup. So it's not uncommon to have quite a big difference in personalities between leopard cubs, and one very bold and one very shy. Dinge says it looks like the cub might have a wow, just like its mom. I don't know, but I can't really see it myself. I'm looking closely at the photo here. I can see an extended W more than a wow. Standing by. Jared says this is the best drive yet with Karula and her cubbies. Copy yours. Just keep making your way. As soon as you guys get here, I'll move out. I just think you might not find the exact position if we leave it unattended. Copy. So Karula's busy calling now and chuffing for the second cub. So hopefully, we'll keep watching this one feast on the diker, but hopefully the second cub does make an appearance with mom. You can hear it calling back, high-pitched chee. Almost sounds like a little warbler. It sounds like the other one's coming a bit closer. Difficult to pinpoint a direction with this wind. Coming back. Hi, Ma. Mom, I don't want to be cleaned. I want to suckle and play. Off to lie down. Come on, second one. Come on, number two. Isn't this just magical? Seems to be behaving now. You can see there's a bit of blood on his face, or her face. Well, behaving didn't last long. getting a good de-fleeing, de-ticking. Sometimes it's just worth being quiet and reveling in these special moments. See how she's so hyper alert? Sounds like the other cub has moved behind us. How? I'm not sure. It could be the wind gusting. I saw it in front of us, but I can just hear it calling. I think we're going to leave the area now, just let them have some time alone for a bit. We will try a quick look behind us. I'm just looking now to see if I can see the second cub. So we're going to leave here, and there's no other vehicles on their way. But let's leave her alone for a little bit. So while we move out, wasn't that incredible? But let's go see what Sam's been up to.
An incredible morning spent with the cubs, and here you are now sitting with a termite mound. Quite a difference from playing cubs to a pile of sand. But it is incredible to look at these structures and to see how termites have built them. And the main reason why I wanted to show you them now is because, as you can see in the distance, the weather is still quite cold. But I'm telling you now, inside those termite mounds is a warm temperature that is sitting at around 32 degrees Celsius. So what's so intelligent about these mounds is they are able to hold this temperature and look after the fungus that they are growing at beneath it. So they've actually, as I've said before, from a biomimicry point of view, they've developed a building in Harare, which is in Zimbabwe, a building that is shaped in the design of a termite mound. So I thought that would be quite interesting to show you. And then just looking at some dung, picked up some dung, some elephant dung, and I just thought, let's have a look, because this camera is incredible what it can pick up. And you can kind of see the sort of things that can be found in elephant dung, purely just because I wanted, you can see that there's bark in it and how there's grasses in it. So it's interesting. Sometimes you can find termites that are crawling through it. I found a scorpion that was coming through it just the other day. But what I did find that was quite cool. Sorry, now I've got elephant poo on my dash, but that's okay. It's just grass and bark. The last thing that I found, which I really enjoyed, was this. Have a look at that. Maybe I should put my hand behind it so you can really see the clippers. The clippers on this beetle. So I was just looking through the soil to have a look at what we could find, and I just found this front of a beetle. So I have no idea what beetle it is from, but those incisors right in the front there look like they can cut open and they would give you a nasty bite if you were to come across it. So if there are any young viewers that are watching, I wouldn't recommend just going and putting your hand in any soil or any dung here in the African plains, purely because there are dangerous animals such as scorpions and snakes. So always, when you're lifting a rock, don't open it like this, which means if the rock was here, don't open it like that. Open it from the top and look over, because that is the best way that you're going to see a scorpion and not injure yourself. With that, let's carry on. So, Karula's cubs. I'm sure they were incredible. I heard they were eating part of the carcass, playing with their mom. What a morning, eh? To see the youngsters playing with the Queen Karula herself. I've had the pleasure of meeting the cubs on foot with Brent, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and I haven't seen them since, so it's great to know that they're still alive and they're still doing well. I'm sure you're all very pleased as well. But we've had an interesting morning. We've been driving. I know that we've been sitting with those cubs, but we've been sitting, me and Brian, trying to take in this weather because it seems like it's going to rain quite soon. And we're now on Cheetah Cut Line, which is to the east of our boundary, our eastern boundary. And we're going to see if we can find the cheetah on this road, because there was reports a couple of days ago that they saw a cheetah on one of the termite mounds. Yeah, so we just thought we'd give it a drive, see if we can find any tracks, and see if we can see it. Maybe they're on the termite mound. Thomas in Canada is asking me, have I seen any of the other cat species? Thomas, I have such a fondness for caracal, I can't tell you. Serval and caracal are one of the hardest cats to find. You know, leopard can be a little bit easier purely because they're a bit more habituated to the vehicle, which means that they've become quite used to seeing vehicles. When it comes to serval and caracal, very, very difficult to see. As soon as they see any movements or they see a vehicle, then it is most likely that they'll get up and go away. So knowing that you were sitting with the leopard cubs this morning, myself and Brian decided to take it very slowly to see if we can see something that might be sitting beneath a bush or underneath a tree, because it takes that extra bit of time and patience to be able to see those animals out in the bush. And I still haven't seen a caracal, and a caracal, I see them in my dreams all the time. I don't know why, I see caracal all the time in my dreams, but I never see them in reality. When I was working out in Cedarburg above Cape Town, I was tracking caracal cubs for quite some time, for about 3 or 4 days. But I was always hot on their tracks and never actually finding them. But that's okay, it's only going to push me to go and look more and track the Cedarburg, track these areas until I do find them. We can see, we're going to see if we can find a giraffe and a cheetah in this area, because this is a very good area to see if we can find those wonderful animals. Wow, it is definitely getting quite cold. Can you feel that chill, Brian? Oof. And it was very hot yesterday. I think it got up to 39 degrees Celsius, which is about 89 Fahrenheit, I think. I don't know, I'm not so sure on the Fahrenheit, but I think 39 degrees Celsius gets up to about 89 to 90 Fahrenheit. Wendy's asking, what does my twin brother do? Well, sometimes he just comes and swaps in for me, so you've probably seen Tom driving a few times. Joking, you haven't seen Tom driving. Tom works in Cape Town, and we both started a business together, well, an organization rather, called Sustainable Brothers and Sisters, when we were 21, 22, and we grew that in Cape Town to try and develop consciousness around ecological and social service systems and services in Cape Town. Since then, Tom has grown into himself really well. He's taken on education and as his passion, and he's moved into a business, creating a business with his best friend Mathieu Turon called Plant the Seed, which is an educational system that goes into different schools around Cape Town to teach them some of the things that they might not be learning in school, from complexity theory to building food gardens to understanding life outside of school. So that is Tom. He's really going into the education system, trying to open it up and allow the kids to take hold of their future so that they can make a difference when they leave. There goes an eagle, looks like. Can't tell what it is from this distance, but it's got quite a large wingspan. Do you have any idea what that is, Brian, from a distance? Could very well be a tawny eagle. But going back to that, I do miss my brother very much. He's a great man. He looks very similar to me, and he's doing such good in the world in terms of planting gardens and making a difference in the world where he can. So I'll get to see him in just a couple of weeks. It's my birthday, and we have obviously born on the same day. He's 2 minutes apart, so he... Ooh, what do we have there? Have a look. This is why we're going slowly, so we can see those secretive animals. It's a kudu. It looks like a young kudu in there. Wow. You see now, oh, it is in Nyala, so I couldn't see from here. It's in Inyala. Thanks for zooming up, and now we can see quite clearly the spot patterns at the back and the white stripes that are at the back. The kudu and the Inyala are very similar species. They like to go into the areas where it's quite thick in bush because it hides them and camouflages them. So this is a great example of this. And it's a female, and you notice it's a female purely because it doesn't have horns. And the kudu horns are really, really, really big. Magnificent looking horns that will have 2 to 3 twirls sometime on them. But you can see she is listening to every single thing that's going on around her. She's moving that ear from left to right. And that is their advantage. Their senses are so attuned to this environment, whether it's they're smelling for different... The smell of a predator is very obvious, I think, to a herbivore. If they got downwind to a predator, they'll be able to smell it, and they would either bark at the predator, or they would take their youngsters, if they were youngsters, and try and get away from there as quick as possible. And the reason why kudu and Nyala like to bark when they see a predator, such as a lion and a leopard, is it's just to say to that predator, I can see you, you are not stealthy anymore, I know where you are, so don't try and attack me. But that's very different to the wild dog. Much like a week ago when we were chasing the wild dogs around Vuyatela, we saw the wild dogs chasing in Nyala, and that Nyala wasn't going to stop and bark. It was just going to get out of there. But have a look now. You can quite clearly see the spot patterns at the back, which almost look like sun coming through the trees. That's a great little piece of camouflage, and the disruptive coloration of the white stripes of that kudu. So you are a beautiful, beautiful animal. Eric says that he loves the stripes in Nyala. Eric, I also really do. It's interesting, like, when you start to think about evolution, the way in which animals, birds, and everything else adapted to their environments, and it's just so clever that bodies and genes were able to adapt by creating lines on their back like that so that it could protect them in the bush and make them more camouflaged. So everything out here has its own genius, its own way of being. Whether it's the Nyala we're looking through in the bush or the bush itself that we're looking at, it's all adapted to its environment so that it can survive. That was a great... Ooh, so is that another one over there? Just there. Is that the same one? No, it's a male. It's a male. You can tell it's a male because now we can quite clearly see the horns. It's just gone behind that bush, but what's incredible about the Inyala is that if we get an opportunity to have a look, oh, there we go, look at that. Isn't that, oh, right next to each other, a male and a female Inyala. Oh, that was incredible. Look at the male, you can see the sexual dimorphism is very, very prominent. It almost looks like the male is wearing a big coat. And that's the way in which I've defined it and the way in which I tell the difference between the two. Very, very lucky to see all the different types of Nyala there, from the youngster to the mother. You don't often find them together like that. The males will often be solitary, moving on their own and looking for a mate. So it looks like they've just done that. But there was a young one there, and the young one had those horns, and you could tell it was a young male not only by the horns, but you could see that sexual dimorphism beginning to take root, as you could have seen the oh, we've got a vulture there though. That's awesome. I haven't seen a vulture yet. Just want to see if we can get a good position of this vulture. It looks like a white-back vulture from this position. Just want to check if you've got good signal. Okay, so we're good with signal. Wow, look at that. It's a vulture. So what do vultures tell us, everyone? They tell us that there could be something out here that has been eaten. And so there's some, I can't smell anything that smells bad, but they're definitely sitting there for a reason. And they're also, much like hyenas, very, very similar, because they're the hygienist of the bush. So they go and collect any of the carrion and the old carcasses that have died. But let's have a look at this vulture. Have a look at all the defining features of it. What can you see? You can see a white head, quite a short hook, brown body. We're going to go and have a look in the book and see which vulture it is. And it looks so cool. If Brian could just pull back a bit so you could see how it looks. Look at that. So it almost such a picturesque of a vulture in a dead redwood. And that's the road that we're on now. We're on Redwood Road. It's very cool.
What an exciting morning, and I could not have asked for a better farewell gift from the Queen of Djuma. I think I spent those incredible moments with her cubs. And now I'm feeling so lucky. We're heading towards the western edge of Djuma. Maybe, just maybe, the wild dogs will come across to say adieu as well. So we had an interesting comment from Jamie Patterson in Johannesburg, who is on leave, who I shall be seeing tomorrow. Jamie says she's very, very jealous, and isn't it incredible how fast leopard cubs grow? That is very true, and those little guys are growing at a rate of knots at the moment. So we are now heading towards the Impala Plains, a favorite area of the wild dogs, checking for tracks. We did have a quick look through here earlier this morning, but maybe they've moved a little bit later because it was quite dark last night and this morning. So the dogs might not have moved through the night last night. No impala on the plains, the sunrise safari. So Jamie mentioned how the cubs sound like tree frogs, and today they sounded very much like little birds. And James is wondering if this type of behavior is a defense mechanism, so they don't attract other predators. And it probably works to that degree somewhat, James. Also, I just think their vocal cords aren't quite developed yet, so not able to produce that sound. And you'll find that quite often with a lot of little creatures, like lion cubs as well, they sound very un-lion-like, waiting for those vocal cords to develop fully. Warming up now, sun trying to fight through the clouds. I wonder where the Birmingham boys are today. I haven't heard any reports of them. So, I wonder how far they marched last night. Well, they were successful in catching something. So, Brian would like to know if it's rare for a coalition of male lions to be in control of multiple females. Oh, an interspecies fight. I wonder what they're fighting over. A drongo is harassing an African grey hornbill quite severely. Oh, that's not something you see every day. Maybe they were fighting over a morsel. That drongo was definitely giving that poor hornbill a good hiding. But Brian, back to your question, and it is not unusual at all, actually. If I remember correctly, the good old Mapojos, back in the old days, they had 4 or 5 prides that they were in charge of, so it's not rare at all, and it's one of the reasons coalitions have a better success rate in this area, because they have a bigger territory and access to more females for mating. Just checking carefully for tracks here, nothing yet. Megan in Ottawa says she thinks we need a really hard quiz today to keep you guys going while I'm on leave. I think that can be arranged, Megan. Let me have a look and see if we can find a very hard quiz for you. It's getting harder and harder to find a difficult quiz that no one can get, but I'm sure we can oblige. I'll keep an eye out. I think I know where I'm going to head. To an area of quite high plant diversity. No sign of those wild dogs, unfortunately. Jared would like to know if we've seen Nelson the impala recently. Those of you not sure who Nelson is a one-eyed, one-horned impala, which we named after Lord Admiral Nelson of His Majesty's Royal Navy. He was one of the great, very instrumental in the bringing down of Napoleon. And he was said to have one eye, one arm, and one ambition. So we decided that our Nelson had one eye, one horn, and one ambition, and that was to avoid the predators, his ambition. But unfortunately, I have not seen Nelson in a month or so. So maybe Nelson's ambition, well, he might have failed at, and something might have caught him, but fingers crossed not. And we have been in the tree house waterhole area quite a bit, and that used to be his favorite hang-around, but we haven't seen him in a while. Looks like there could be some action starting around here. Male impala chasing females. Let's just get into the right spot. Oh, that wasn't a very long chase, mister. Just making sure she was with the rest. So, there we go. He goes to look after his little harem. So Monkey Man says he'd like a bird quiz, and Maju is Major would like a baby leopard quiz. Oof. Well, maybe I have to leave you with multiple quizzes before I head off on leave. Let's leave these impala. Getting going a little bit slow this morning because of the cool weather and the windy weather. Choosing to stay out in the open rather. Ah, Monkey Man. And I've got a bird quiz for you. Oh, let's just move a bit further, and this could catch a few people out. So on these impala are some oxpeckers. Now, oxpeckers are able to eat a very strange bodily excretion of animals, particularly the bigger animals, and I wonder who can tell me what strange bodily secretion can an oxpecker eat out of specifically the big animals like buffalo and a giraffe. They eat something, they have a special enzyme in their stomach, can break it up. And what weird bodily secretion can an oxpecker feed on? And if you know the answers to that, I'll be very impressed. And if you do, pop an email to me at questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. What weird bodily secretion can an oxpecker eat? There's the bird quiz. Now, to think about a leopard cub quiz. I have to think a bit long and hard about that one to make it difficult enough that it's not too easy. I've got a feeling that's going to be the easier of the two quizzes, the leopard cub quiz. We've got so many fantastic leopard experts amongst our viewers. taking one last gander towards the gate. Someone has said blood is not a strange bodily secretion that oxpeckers feed on. It's one of their normal ones, and we've often seen them keep wounds open. So blood is indeed a bodily secretion. Oh, I suppose it's not. It's not supposed to secrete it. It's better for the animal if the blood stays inside. But this is something that the animals actually create, and actually in a certain way. I'm trying to think about how to say this without giving the answer away. But it's not blood. And it's not the inadvertent hair that they get when they are feeding off ticks. Judy and Siberia the Zoomy. I think I have said this on Live Drive before, so obviously it wasn't difficult enough that you guys have got the quiz in not too long. It is earwax, is the weird bodily secretion that oxpeckers can feed off. David is giving a very strange look on his face, like, earwax, what? But yes, it is earwax. Oh, now I'm definitely going to have to think, well, a tougher one. A more general one. What bird migrates the longest distance? Which of the migratory bird species migrates the longest distance? And that's in the whole world, not specific to Djuma. If you know the answer to who is the longest migrant in the world, pop me an email at questions@wildearth.tv and or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. I've got a feeling the answers are going to come in fast and furiously for this one. So unfortunately, no wild dog tracks crossing. And while you guys think about what is the bird that migrates the longest, let's go see what Sam's up to.
A blue commonelia, a beautiful flower out here in the bush. Thought we'd come and find something nice and colourful on this grey day here with WildEarth, and it's been a fantastic morning, as you've all seen such incredible content of that leopard. I mean, wow, I can't wait to see some of the footage that is going to be at studio. But over here, I just thought I'd bring some things just for fun to show you. This over here can be used as a grinding stick. I'm going to put it over here. So mainly you'll use the bushveld gardenia for this, but you could also use it with these sticks here, because you can find that they do that. So what you do here is you pull all of the stems off the side here, and then you go like this, and you rub it, and this is how you can make some mealie meal, or how a lot of people make pap and that sort of stuff out here in the bush. And what do you call that, eh? Do you know, Brian, when you grate things like that? I forgot what it's called, but anyway, if you want to cut stuff up, put it in a little bowl, mull it up, it's really, really good device. But also, have a look at this. You can imagine in the wind, everything out here has got a different way of seed dispersal, and you can tell that this has a beautiful structure. So if I went like this to you, while the wind's blowing, I don't know if you can see that. If you can see, I'll put that behind. You can see quite a lot of white. Is that correct? Can you see all that white? But if I went like that, you can see through it. So that's a very, very clever design that nature's created in order to create a Fibonacci sequence. So it's collecting as much sunlight as it can. And if you look, when I start going in a little bit faster, all the white things are going to fall off. Go. Maybe I've got to blow it. So it's very, very intelligent, all these little plants out here, to see how they get their seed out into the bush. Yeah. So it's incredible when you go and you look around the bushveld to see the little designs that are out there and how effective they are. I know that I just spat a word out that many people might not understand. Fibonacci, have a look at what Fibonacci is. Fibonacci is learning about the golden ratio, the spiral. So you can see the spiral in many things in life. You can see it within plants, you can see it within shells. Shells, you can most obviously see it. If you go and have a look at a perlman shell, you'll see that it has that perfect spiral. And some people call it the spiral of life. And if you are aware of it and you open yourself to all those different spirals, you can see them everywhere. I mean, you can even, you know what's so incredible is actually eagles use that spiral of life effect when they are trying to locate on a prey. So if you can imagine, an eagle's in the sky and it's circling over like this. It circles as it gets down to the prey. So many eagle species don't just dive, bomb, and get it like the fish eagle will do. Some eagles will turn in a spiral formation with a one eye locked onto the target, and they will move like this all the way down until they pick up their prey. So it's not only within the designs to collect both water and sunlight, but it's even in the design of the way in which predators hunt. So it's incredible when you start to look a little bit deeper at the intricate workings of the natural world to understand a little more about how this complex world works. And the final little thing that I found while I was out here is this. So what I'm holding here is a silver cluster leaf. And as most viewers would have noticed, I try and eat it sometimes to show you the taste of it. I'm not going to do that anymore because it really actually doesn't taste nice. And when I'm trying to talk to you, it's just not nice. I just can't talk properly. But if you have a look closely over here, you can see that there's something that's been living in there. And that's something, well, just hold on one second, I just want to turn the volume down here, is a type of wasp that will lay its nest, its seed in there. So what it does is actually has an ovipositor, and it puts the ovipositor into that part of the tree, and it swells the tree up, so that it then can release its eggs to allow the offspring to grow inside the stem of a tree. So it's incredible when you start to look at these things and see how little homes are adapted in the natural world and how they do all these beautiful things. And finally, it is coming towards autumn. So you can imagine, you can see the greenery around us and the clouds that are ahead of us can tell us that there is going to be some rain. So hopefully when the rain comes, it'll keep the bushveld quite green for the next month or so. But as soon as we get halfway through May, we're going to start seeing the bush dry up, and the golden colors that I love so much are going to start showing their face to all of us and giving us a whole new experience of the bush. So that's the beauty of this live safari, is that it's constantly changing, it's dynamic, and it allows us to see the many faces that the bush is, which is very cool. But we are coming down towards a drainage line again, and we've been looking for tracks of the leopard since we've been in here. So we're going to go slowly, and what's quite nice about coming into an area quite slowly and just listening is it gives you the best chance of not only seeing the secretive animals such as the buck, but the leopard as well. So let's slowly move through. Help me look down the riverbed to see if you can see anything moving. We'll take a look both sides of the riverbed. It's almost like an archway over there. Have a look at the tree coming over that little pathway. Very cool. And right. And do you know what I think we'll see when we come towards the the winter months, we'll start to find elephants coming down here. You can almost see some elephant tracks in the riverbed here, the big holes that are there. Those will be the elephant tracks. And what's very interesting is that we'll find elephants come to this area because they'll come and dig through this sand and soil to find the water that they need. So it is going to be very dry in a couple of months, and we'll be able to see all sorts of different things happen. We've seen some interesting secretive animals today, and I think he's been at business looking for an eye, not looking for an eye, keeping an eye out on
So I've been sitting here stewing on what could be the most difficult quiz to give you guys for while I'm gone. And I think I've got it, but I'm going to wait till the last moment. So just in case one of you is too smart and sends the answer in. So at least I have 2 weeks. But we've got some answers in for the birds that migrate the furthest. So we've got a few answers in there. Steppe eagle, European roller, spoonbill, all are incorrect. So maybe the longest migrating bird in the world was a good question. I was sure someone would have got it quite quickly, but maybe not. The barn swallow is also incorrect. Now, should I give you guys a hint? Nah. Albatross is also not correct. It is the bird that has the longest point-to-point migration in the world. And I know I have told you guys on Drive before, I think the quiz I'm going to leave you with at the end of the safari is going to be a fish quiz, just to mix things up a little bit. Well done to James and Megan and a few others. The bird with the longest migration is the Arctic tern. Migrates 11,000 miles every year. I knew someone was going to get that one. And I wonder if you're going to get the fish quiz. It's a little bit out there, a bit different from our normal quizzes. Of course, I'm a very big fan of fish, since I like fishing, and I'm hoping to do a little bit of fly fishing while on leave for the indigenous yellowfish of South Africa. There's lots of great fishing to be had of indigenous species, and for me they're one of the best to fish for because they are such strong fighters. But it has been an incredible sunrise safari, and a big thank you to Commander Bond, who found Karula and the cubs for us. So I'm sure he will be going there on the sunset safari to have a look at those cuties, and hopefully the second cub starts to relax. I think it will, especially if she spends some more time with us. And as I said, it's definitely a guess. But I'm probably thinking that second cub is a female and the more brazen cub is a male. But only time will tell. and very exciting to have those cubs out and about. Megan and Brian would like to know what I'm up to on my leave. Well, hopefully a bit of fishing on the Vaal River, and then I might go see my grandmother in Durban. But unfortunately, quite a bit of my leave is going to be taken up visiting some doctors. I need to get some scans on my hip. Quite a few of our long-time viewers will know I had a little incident with an elephant in a rainforest a couple of years ago, and there's some tendon damage that might need to be repaired. So I'll be heading to Johannesburg to see some doctors. Nothing serious, don't worry, but just to make sure it doesn't get any worse carrying on. But I'm definitely going to sneak off for some fishing in between my doctor's appointments. Also, the wonderful thing about some of the places we go fishing, I'll get to see a whole new host of bird species and butterfly species, and always have my binoculars close at hand. We are very lucky in South Africa. It is a land of much diversity, from high mountains to thick misbelt forests to big rivers and places full of elephants and leopards and lions. But now we have almost the last minute of the sunrise safari, and my quiz to you is a fish quiz. Now, Africa's also got amazing diversity in freshwater fishes. So the quiz is, which lake in Africa has the highest number of cichlid species? Which lake in Africa has the highest number of cichlid species? So think about that. I'll let James know the answer so he can give it to you on the Sunset Safari. But think about that one. So as I said, I'm about to go and leave. It's been wonderful out here for the last 6 weeks. It's been really great taking you guys out on safaris. I really do love it. It's amazing to be able to share my passion and love for Africa with you. And hopefully you'll be going back to Karula and the cubs with James this evening. And I couldn't have thought of a better way to end this work cycle than a little special time with Karula and her kittens. I know they're not kittens, but goodbye, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.